Primary Exit Profile, PEP, is a series of assessments that replace GSAT. PEP provides a profile of where the student is academically, their strengths, weaknesses, and readiness for grade 7. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I am Theodore Henry. Coming up in today's program, we'll be discussing PEP, which is right around the corner, so you don't want to miss a minute. Stay tuned.
What if they knew that you abused her family?
Mr. Jones.
And your colleagues, how will they look at an abuser? When the law comes knocking, you'll have nowhere to run.
Mr. Brown, you're under arrest. Please get up, hands behind your head and interlock your fingers.
Turn your back on abusers. Report gender-based violence to the police. There's no excuse for abuse. Call the Bureau of Gender Affairs at 876-754-8577.
This week on Get the Facts, we're joined by Assistant Chief Education Officer for the Student Assessment Unit at the Ministry of Education, Mrs. Terry-Ann Thomas-Gale, as she discusses all we need to know about the upcoming Primary Exit Profile, PEP.
Welcome to Get the Facts, a program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Enthros Campbell. The Primary Exit Profile or PEP exams are coming up soon, and as some of our nation's children prepare themselves, we want to provide them with some useful information as well as for their parents. Joining us is Terry-Ann Thomas-Gale, Deputy Chief Education Officer for Students Assessment Unit at the Ministry of Education. Mrs. Gale, welcome to the program. So good to have you.
Thanks for having me, Ms. Campbell. It's a pleasure being here.
Great. How many students are registered for the PEP exams this year?
Okay, so for this year, we have a total of 39,561 students registered to sit the exam at the grade 6 level.
How does that compare with last year?
Last year, we had run about the same amount sitting the exams.
Okay. So PEP is in its second year.
Yes.
Give us an overview of what has happened since the start of the exam.
Okay, last year we had our first sitting of the Primary Exit Profile for grades 4, 5, and 6. Our grade 6 students matriculated to grade 7 at the secondary level. Since then, we have continued with the piloting of our items. We maintain our testing processes. So we had item writing, piloting continues right throughout the year. We would have done our cognitive labs and our field studies on the items to ensure that they are valid and reliable going on to the test forms that will be administered throughout the year 2020.
Yes.
So this year, our grade 6 students will start the process come February 25th. The students will sit the Primary Exit Profile for the ability test.
Okay. All right. Before we go to that, tell us, there were some issues last year. How have you worked on improving those for this year?
The issues we had last year, seeing it was the first year being rolled out, we had issues such as the reporting mechanism. Persons were concerned about the use of the scale scores as against the percentage scores. What we did, we had workshops with our principals, especially those at the secondary level. So we went to all regions except for one region which is still yet to be done. We would have walked our high school principals as to how it is that the reports should be interpreted, the intent of the assessment, and how it is that they can continue the development and the implementation of the National Standards Curriculum at grades 7. There was also the issues.
Grade 7?
Grade 7. So we met with the high school principals.
Yes.
Our primary school principals were part of the focus group that we did, we had selected school representatives such as at the primary level. We had the principals, the teachers, and the parents who formed part of our focus groups to look at the report and to give guidance as to what is needed, what are their needs on the students' report. We would have piloted those reports throughout the reporting mechanism last year, and we have received feedbacks and we have implemented the feedbacks that we would have received. For the grade 6 reporting, persons were concerned about the different scores. Now on the report we have scores such as the individual subject scores. We have the composite score. Now, this is a score that is used for placement, and this score is developed based on the weighting that is given. In the implementation of PEP and the rollout, we would have advised the system that the performance task measured valued 20%, and that was over a 3-year period. So at grades 4, when the students sit their performance task, it would value 5%. At grade 5, it would value 7%, and at grade 6, it would value 8%. And the ability test values 30%. And the curriculum-based test would value the remaining 50%. So of the individual subject scores for these subjects, only 50% in the case of the curriculum-based test, that would go towards the final, this placement. And 30% of what they would have gotten on the ability test added to that, and 20% of the performance task. And as well, there was the percentile, the ability test, because of the nature of the assessment, it is not reported using scaled score. It is reported using the percentile ranked. And so this disparity was with the different scores.
Children can start earning marks from grade 4?
From grade 4. And that's one of the plus for PEP,
yes.
Unlike GSAT, where it was a one-shot sitting down doing this exam at grade 6, for PEP, you actually start earning points as early as grade 4.
Okay, so talk to us about the grades that you need to get to your first choice school.
Because of the placement mechanism that is used, there is no set grade for a particular school.
Is that really true?
It is really true. The placement is done based on how the students perform. So after all the scores would have been calculated, you are ranked using this placement score. And based on your rank, that's how you are placed into the high school. So for example, if it were that all the students who scored high based on their composite score selected a particular high school, even if the average going in there would be a scale score of 280, that would be where the highest ranked student go. So the ministry doesn't have like a score for a particular high school. It all depends on the students who sit the exam and the choices they make. So for example, both of us sit the exam.
Yes.
After all our scores are calculated, you're ranked number 1. The computer system will place you first. And if I'm number 2, I'm given my first choice if it is that the schools are not
if I'm
filled.
ranked number 1, I'll get my first choice school, the school
Automatically, because you're the first person being placed.
Yes, and if I do extremely well, so you don't rank the schools?
No, the schools are not ranked. The students are ranked based on their performance and based on the weighting that is allotted to the different companies.
You say you have been talking to the principals and so on, but did you get down to having sessions with teachers?
The preparation for PEP is not much different from the preparation for GSAT in that the teachers only need to implement the national standards curriculum. We would have gone and trained all grades level on how to assess the national standards curriculum. We would have improve in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. We would have improved our supervisory module, where we have core curriculum officers as well as the territorial officers out there in the schools giving guidance. Along with that, we have our over 300 math coaches, literacy coordinator, HFLE. All our officers are equipped to guide the system as it is that the national standards curriculum should be implemented.
Okay. All right, we take a break now. We come back with more discussion on the primary exit profile examination, PEP. Stay with us.
Let's get a little breeze on this land. All right. Now let's get some bounce in the rhythm. All right. Let's get some fire on our hearts. Now that is what we call all right. Run, come, get some Jamaica.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We continue our discussion with Terry and Thomas Gale, Deputy Chief Education Officer for Students Assessment Unit at the Ministry of Education. In our first segment, you were talking a lot about the composite score. Tell us what is that?
I want to point out that this composite score was always used for GSAT. The difference with PEP is that we communicated this time around.
Yes.
For GSAT, that was what was done behind the scenes to rank the students and place them into the schools based on their selections. The students are given 7 choices, 5 from anywhere on the island, and there are 6th and 7th choice from the school in close proximity to their sending school, the primary level institutions. After we would have ranked the students, first there are 42,000 students who would have sat the exam based on the scores that they would have gotten on the different components, the different papers, their scores based on the weighting that is given, the 20% for the performance task, the 30% for the ability, and the 50% for the curriculum-based test. All that they are added, and the students are, there are some mathematical principles put in place, the standard deviation, and they are given a ranked number. And they're ranked. Based on that number, they are ranked in order. That order now, it is what we use to place them. So the composite score is nothing new. The newness of it is that it is actually known. It was always behind the scene. That's the only way we could use to rank the students and to place them.
Students can get help from the PEP app. Yes, tell us a little about that.
Okay, so we have the PEP app as well as we have a PEP website.
Yes.
On the PEP website, we would have, for this year, we would have published grade 6 publication. Within the grade 6 publication, there are items for the different components. So we have ability sample items. We have the curriculum-based sample items, so all 4 subject areas, and we have the performance task. All these sample items were from last year's paper. It is the plan of the ministry every year to release some of the items that were from the previous year's sitting. So that publication is available on the website. Parents can go on and have the children practice using those. Our teachers would have become more comfortable, let me say comfortable, using the variety of item types. And our teachers, they're the ones who write the items for us. They have really blossomed. The items that are now being written and used within our classroom, they have shown that the teachers are on stream. They are now using the items that we would have posited.
Okay, how do we get to the PEP app?
The PEP, the URL, it would be pep.moey.gov.jm. So once you type that in, the PEP website comes up and you can navigate because it's really user-friendly.
Yes. Let's go to the PEP exams now.
Right.
You were saying the first one is in February. Tell us about
So come February 25th, our grade 6 students will sit the ability test. I want to remind our viewers that the ability test looks at reasoning verbally and quantitatively. So that exam is not aligned to the National Standards Curriculum. The students need at least a grade 4 level exposure to the school system to acquire those items. And on March 19th, that's Thursday, March 19th, we'll have the performance task in language arts, and on the 20th, we will have the performance task in mathematics.
How long are these papers?
The ability test is 1 hour and 15 minutes. The performance, the task, they're 2 hours long, but there's a break in between.
And we can be assured that our students are ready and our teachers are ready.
Based on the feedback from the ground, we would have used the data from last year's administration of the PEP, and that was what was used by our territorial officers and the core curriculum unit. We would have gone into those schools that we saw based on the results where they had issues implementing, issues on the test, and we would have assisted in areas of weaknesses. The good thing about PEP, we're not just getting a score about the students, we're getting an entire profile. So from the results, you're able to see the exact category of weaknesses, whether or not the students have problem with problem solving, whether they're unable to communicate in the language arts and the mathematics across the different subject areas. And so the targeted approach is much better.
Are there measures in place for students with special needs?
We do have, at the Ministry of Education, we have a special education unit, and what we would have done for those students with special needs, we would have also given them special accommodations. Special accommodation is given after psychoeducational assessment is submitted for the students. And we have special accommodations such as writers, prompters, extra time. I want to point out also that even for placement of our students with special needs, these are specially placed. So our special education officers, they would know the students within the schools who are wheelchair bound, who have certain learning challenges, and so these children would be specially placed.
How can persons get in touch with you, the ministry, if they have needs that are not being met?
On the PEP website, there are different phone numbers for the different areas. At the Student Assessment Unit, we can be contacted at 876-922-5680. My cell number is available, rather a WhatsApp message. It's 876-455-3003.
Okay, and as we wrap, talk to our parents and our students as they get ready. They tend to get nervous, right? What would you say to our parents and students at this time?
Before I get there, I remember last year the students reported that it is much easier than everybody led them to believe. And I want to assure our parents that our students are ready. The students are ready for PEP. And I want you to just encourage your child, ensure that the child gets the rest before the exam. We want you to have conversation, because the more the child talks about what is being learned, the better it is for them to represent it on paper. Encourage your children to read the questions carefully, because the answers are there. Do not rush. There is adequate time to complete all the assessment. They don't need to rush to finish and to sit there. I want to also encourage us to be supportive. The teachers within our schools, they're aware of what is required for your students, and they are adequate enough to guide you in getting them ready for PEP.
Thank you so very much. This has been Get the Facts. Our guest was Terrian Thomas Gale, Deputy Chief Education Officer for Students Assessment Unit at the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information. We wish our PEP students well and urge the parents to be calm. Until next time, when Get the Facts brings you another informative discussion, I'm Enthros Campbell. Do take good care.
As you've just heard, the primary exit profile PEP examination is right around the corner. This next feature will highlight a free app, I said free, that parents and students can utilize when preparing for the exam.
What I liked about the app is that it helped students to understand basics in different subject areas.
I found it wonderful because it helped me to, in my language arts, it helped me to pass my exam.
PEP Tutor is a free application that works on all Android devices by default for students preparing for the primary exit profile exam to practice with. They can talk to the device, whatever device it is, if it's a smartphone, tablet, a Google Home device, or a smart TV, once it's Android. And it asks them questions and they can respond by either typing or talking to the phone.
Talk to PEP Tutor. Sure, let's get PEP Tutor.
The idea came out of a discussion that was on Twitter where persons were complaining about the exam, how difficult it is and how difficult it is to find questions to practice. So, being in IT and always trying to use technology to solve problems, I decided to use technology to try to help them. Currently we have science, mathematics and language arts, and we're working on adding social studies and the ability questions. Before now, I got questions from the practice exams that the students were using to prepare for the PEP exam. And now I have a teacher from my primary school, which is Wakefield Primary School. She's assisting me to put the questions together because I'm not a teacher, I don't know how to test students. So she's preparing the questions and I'm just adding them to it. The app works by simply asking the students questions, and it asks multiple choice questions and short answer questions. So if a parent can sit and go through the questions with the student, if the answer that is provided by the student is incorrect, the app will tell the student that the answer is incorrect and tell them which one is correct or which answer is a correct answer. It doesn't show you how to work out the questions. So if it's a maths question and it says 2 + 3 is 5, it won't show you how to add 2 and 3, but it tells you that the answer is 5 and whatever answer you gave is incorrect. Just like any other exam, is to keep the students practicing constantly. You don't want to wait until the last minute and put them under additional stress and pressure. So from September or even before, during whatever holidays, to have the students, go through the different subject areas, sit with them on the weekends and help them to get prepared. The PEP app will definitely assist students right across the board, whether they're rich, poor, or whether they're in the country or in town, getting better results in the PEP exams. I believe the PEP Tutor app will assist in us achieving our Vision 2030 goal by making access to education a lot easier for students, whether in Kingston or whether in urban or rural areas. And I think, by utilizing technology, will make learning more fun for students, and they will eventually do better.
If you've ever wondered what your property taxes are used for, wonder no more. Your property taxes provide revenue for the provision of public and community amenities throughout Jamaica, which are delivered by local government officials. When you pay your property taxes, you aid with the maintenance and expansion of our street lighting to ensure you are not walking in the dark at nights, the collection and disposal of solid waste to prevent the pileup of garbage in communities, the improvement of our community infrastructure, and repairs to fire stations and service vehicles, along with rehabilitation of our roads. Pay your property taxes online, in line or via mobile tax units, and avoid being sought by the government. For more information, visit the Tax Administration website at www.jamaicatax.gov.jm or call 876-902-9463.
With examinations like PEP, CXC, and CAPE coming up, here are a few tips that will help to improve your study mindset. The first one, Think positively when you study and remind yourself of your skills and abilities. Number 2, avoid catastrophic thinking. So instead of thinking, I'll never have enough time to study for this exam, look at it like, I may be a little late to study as much as I like, but since I'm doing it now, I'll get the most out of it. Number 3, avoid absolute thinking. Instead of beating yourself up when you don't do well, change your mindset and start saying, I didn't do so well that time. What can I do to improve? Number 4, avoid comparing yourself with others because usually you just end up feeling bad about yourself. Your skills and abilities are unique to you and you alone. Follow these 4 simple steps when studying and enhance your educational careers as we aim to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business.
A common practice while socializing, celebrating, or just relaxing is the consumption of alcohol. To some, this is second nature.
All too common also are the negative effects that drinking has on the human body. While occasional drinking is not necessarily a problem, it's the excessive intake that can have severe consequences.
The effects of too much alcohol consumption include blurred vision, breathing problems, impaired judgment, concentration problems, slurred speech, and of course, addiction resulting from long-term use. Now, these effects may vary based on a variety of factors such as how much you drink, how often you drink, your age, health status, and family history.
Alcohol use does not have to be reckless. Here are some tips to practice responsible drinking.
Plan ahead. If you plan on drinking at an event, get a designated driver.
Shoulder. Yeah. Set your own limit. No how much is too much.
Know your family history. If you come from a family with a history of alcohol dependence, you might want to limit your drinking.
Remember, responsible drinking is a very simple thing.
Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Join us again tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Send your feedback on today's show to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm. Also, follow us on our social media pages and download our app on your Apple and Android devices. And you can also visit our website at jis.gov.jm for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.